Which one of these cards do you feel best represents you? Being the first sibling, the last sibling, and what placement people place on themselves, as well as this hero's journey business. Hero's journey is a really interesting ability to place people and who do they think they are. A problem with who we all think we are. And this is where I find the deck of cards very interesting. I haven't researched any of the deck of cards stuff. This is just something that has come to me as an epiphany, that I have seen these symbols in meditations, and I've seen the gestures. I've also used DMT, and surprisingly, I've seen Jester. I recognize Jester. Jester has been presented to me as Joker, as a deck of cards, as jesters, court jesters, and then all the way back to Persia in the East. These dancing jesters, dancing much like Shiva, the ultimate jester. The god of war, really. And if you ask me, war will continue to the end of all of this. There's a reason for it. But those symbols are very deep. The jester and his connection to the spade, the black spade, the silver spade, that symbol going back to our roots of one of the most sophisticated vessels the universe has at this point in time. This is where we have come. The first S-U-N in the universe, in the sky, to ever explode. But hold that thought. Let's go back in time. It didn't explode yet. Excuse me. It didn't explode yet. If you will, I don't want to misgender. The first dead sun, but there would have been no worlds. Definitely no biology or flesh. You could even go back before that. Talk about the first dead system, the first war. Shiva truly dancing. Matter, antimatter. It was like a hall of mirrors. And every time one of them sees its reflection, it explodes the whole thing. And how many times, how many universes did this have to take place before one decided to be or not to be, to be? We have plenty of not to be's to get to that one point where the war was won by a new body, a new vessel, a new place, a new thing to be. We already had the place clearly with this war. Can't say it was the first war I can think of. Bam! Matter wins. Little teeny systems everywhere, and we've got stars, and here we have a time before the first death of a star. Truly, definitely they're not immortal, but they look like angels to me. And there's no worlds though, like Earth or Jupiter or Mars. There's nothing cool like that. There's no atmospheres around rocks out there. There's no plants anywhere in the entire universe. It has never existed before this point in this holographic quantum computing thing. And then we have Elohim as well, what I would consider to be Elohim, void. We had that before the first dead sun. We had fire. Yeah, we had that before the first dead sun. We had Elohim, elements, gods. And God's made of the elements. There's all kinds of elements going on. Then there's a supernova in the heavens. You could poetically call it, as a matter of fact, God's first dead sun. And its blood would have been light. but it converted light, or took pure physical form. New Elohim that would be dispersed. Gold, platinum, silver, spit out there. And it's like, at this point, it's a second generation of the first family. I mean, think about it. The first family, before this star died, they were quantum entangled as well, though. They were made from the dust of the first star. I mean, people can argue whether the Big Bang happened. I absolutely see it. It's pretty clear the way things move, the flow of things. It looks like everything that ever existed, including space, was cram-packed into one little thing. We were all one thing. Me, my skin was made out of your skin. The space in my head that you can think of right now was made out of the space in your head that you can think of. That digital space was made out of us as well. As crazy as it sounds, then that death, what was that? I don't know, but some Elohim were made during the death of that first thing. Don't know what it was, but that thing, probably your God. Did it die? Did the old one die? Did it go through the same thing that everything else seems to have to go through? Well, something's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you, and that's because I already been through it. Boom. Something died, clearly, exploding. Then we have, and that would be calcination, right? Then you have fermentation, which is the new stars are being formed. Bam, bam, bam. We have Elohim that didn't exist before that moment. So we can already look back to before the OG Elohim of fire and water. I mean, fire and space. Water certainly didn't exist. Then when we come down to the point where gold, platinum, silver as a symbol for the blood of the second dead lamb, if you will. I mean, becoming our flesh and our blood, literally. Now you have all these new Elohim that didn't exist before that, and each one is made out of the blood and the flesh of the death before it. It's resurrected, and now it's not just a star. It is a star system. And then within that, the mental awareness journeys it can take within its own planets, you would think are incredible. I mean, people got to be really ignorant to look at these massive machine dynamo and think it's just stuff that makes us. I mean, there's consciousness behind the entire thing. It's holographics. You really got to understand holographics, what it means. The spade goes back to the beginning of our race. Don't know how far that goes. By our race, I mean, this can include many races. By race, I mean really any bipedal kind of critter that grew up tribal mammal, making fires and hunting critters and making the spade. It's going to be one of the first necessary achievements of any species on any world where you have to poke something to eat it, and you ain't got natural pokers. The psyche probably spans across the entire galaxy. So then, would it surprise you to find out that when people take DMT, they report their first encounter with it and haven't read other reports, totally unaware, report seeing these symbols? The only character that I've seen as a character has been the Jester. But the interesting thing is, my body, it's a Tesla. And I'm Neuralinked in with its AI. And its AI, I loosen the cork and I get works of art that are to some degree mockery. So then in theology, that is a demon of mockery. Embracing persona. I'm extremely suspicious of myself and my observer falling into any potential belief in certain works come from me, if that makes sense. An epiphany, if it's a true epiphany, it's information you pulled from another, other than you, the observer. We don't have free will if we are enslaved to the vessel and its AI. That is not free will to be confused as to knowing what I really want. Lamborghini is specifically designed using these ratio of nature, Fibonacci golden number. And again, it's so attractive to my eye. If it had its own AI, I could plug into, I could potentially get emotionally attractive to this car. I probably am to some degree. I love the car. I mean, you could say it's similar to the same kind of situation we have with praying mantises. They chew your head off when they're done. So same thing with taking a really fast ride in the driver's seat of one of those cars. Even if experience is going to end badly. It'll be fun though. It's beautiful. I do like this beautiful thing. The thing about it though is I know that everybody who craves beauty and symmetry with their eyes when dealing with the opposite sex, we've all met somebody who, damn, if they weren't the perfect soul, spirit, but there was definitely something there that you have this overriding function. In some cases, it can be as bad as a gag reflex. And in that case, how about this culturally? Your tribe has never encountered Aboriginal. There may be some like repulsions that we get from this probably the mainframe of the hologram or the holographic. By hologram, I don't mean what people may think. We think of holograms as we get to see this fake thing. So the universe and our lives are fake because they're holographic. That's not what people are saying by saying it's holographic. Holographic simply means all of the information of the entire universe is in every atom. That's how it holds itself together. And so that's what it means. Then you can learn more about what a hologram is to understand why they call that holographic, where a lot of people that don't understand what it really means think of it as, oh, you mean you project light and you see a 3D. No, that's a hologram, but that hologram, like we would be the holograms. It could be as physical and biological as us if all the information for us comes from somewhere else in the big picture. And it does. But again, when I think of me though, the real me cannot be tainted by somebody who may be disfigured. But yet, and I say this in a harsh way because nature is mean. The gag reflex could destroy any possibility of you having this what you think you want. That's another thing. What do you think you want with another person? You're in love with something potentially more. What I'm trying to say is that should be a challenge on that. Now, of course, I'm not going for shallow how. For me, I fight a different battle there. It's not like I'm going to go find somebody who's disfigured and challenge myself to that to overcome this eye for symmetry. But to recognize that is connected to the awe-struckenness of creations as well. So that whole mathematical symmetry, the same attraction people may have for a beautiful girl, but they're not that way on the inside. And so then what happens is Pinocchio, the puppet that would follow that by number, subconsciously, you think you're the one, the cricket, that wants that girl. Cricket and the puppet ain't communicating together. Fairy godmother is like trying the best, the emotions of it all. But that puppet acts like a lizard as well. It is. And it has the personality of a jester. It has a lot of personalities. This personality is something that's learned by it, by a quantum computer that lives, teaches itself how to walk. You have to struggle, in the beginning, but it's incredible what happens once that's put into the memory of the quantum computer. But again, it already has certain characteristics it starts with, and that's where all of these personalities are stored. Persona. The most important thing I think anyone can do is try to differentiate their state of mind from any persona that is potentially a contaminant from the vessel. That would be your higher self that is outside. That would be potentially you, your immortal mind, your actual immortal personality. And aside from some of the hungers, the necessary hungers, I don't know. I mean, I almost don't know what it would make a person, though the people that seem to do it on this planet the best are Tibetan monks. It'd be interesting to talk to these people about this, because I find it very important then to key in on the fact that there's a lot of reasons you could say that it's a mundane idea to be the white picket fence with the best looking, most beautiful girl on the planet and have the soulmate connection, everything perfect. Or, some people for perfect is just like have a good wife and family and don't have any regrets. And that's not why we get lured into this, though. I think people usually get lured into it. Ideals and things that are built on the hero's journey. They're kind of taught to them of what they want. And it's taught to the AI, and that's where it becomes more powerful. How difficult would it be for me to break my visual desires, right? You'd think that, and at a time, it meant that I didn't want a girl unless she met these, and then sometimes you get suckered in, we'll say, by spirit potentially, just aside from all this, having fun with anyone like you would, you get along. But there's a couple things that you thought you could deal with, but now you can't. You're fighting yourself. It's like your conscious observer is saying, what am I thinking? This is a good thing. But your lust or whatever for beauty or shapely, every time you see the fruit of another, It's driving. Why are you at war inside? And if you are at war inside, this is an interesting place for me to determine, is this neuralinked into my Tesla's desires? And these are actually, Tesla has its AI. The Neuralink is the fairy godmother, and I am the cricket driver. I'm getting an angel on one shoulder, a devil on another shoulder, and I can't figure out why they're at war with each other. Why I'm at war with one of them, practical, emotional. That's when I can identify the Trivesica. This is where I know that these are not truly my intentions at all. There's an emotional component to the vessel, but there's not an emotional component to me necessarily. I'd like there to be, but again, that's because it feels good. And emotional components in some cases feel good, in some cases they try to kill you. Can I not feel good about something as just a state of mind, independent of these other two pieces of me? Logical and emotional? I like logical, but that logical lizard is an asshole. I don't like Mr. Friendly. Mr. Friendly writes some amazing, incredible works of art, though. And so much so that it has a Jester-like personality of mockery toward anything lesser. And that's not me, the observer. I can't even really take credit for it other than when it gives me a perfect idea, I push and push myself to make my hands do the thing. And when they do, dang, I look good. But let's not pretend that that's me. If you tap into that bottle and you truly get some genius or muse out of it, you have to understand that that's not you. It looks perfect because it came from perfection. It came from a computing system, an immortal mind, and it has lots of personas it can develop. But it's only capable of developing certain personas, and then you have to use it to tap into the mainframe hologram, potentially breaking free of those personas affecting you. The deck of cards is the book of the dead, laid out before you. Here are the persona that you're going to have to tackle, all of them in a row. After your death, it's not going to be easy. You're probably going to be born right back into one of these personas, and you have to tackle it again. It's just part of being this tribal thing.